everyone. There's plenty of resources, plenty of things to do this week to read this part of the Phaedo, plenty of videos to look at. So I don't want to pile on, but I like to check in with one or two points that I'd like to emphasize every week. Sometimes I do that. And this week, looking at Plato's Phaedo in the first reading on page 7, when Socrates says, "What again shall we say of the actual acquirement of knowledge?" That is, how do we actually get knowledge? Is the body, if invited to share in the inquiry, a hinderer or a helper? Does the body help us get knowledge, or does the body serve as an obstacle to knowledge? I mean to say, have sight and hearing. So when he refers to the body, he's referring to the senses, really. And also, in other contexts, to the desires. But here, to the senses. Have sight and hearing any truth in them? Are they not, as the poets are always telling us, inaccurate witnesses? That is, aren't our senses deceived often? And yet, if even they, sight and hearing, are inaccurate and indistinct, what is to be said of the other senses? For you will allow that they are the best of them. Certainly, he replied. Then when does the soul attain truth? For in attempting to consider anything in company with the body, she is obviously deceived. True. Then must not true existence, that is, the reality of things, be revealed to her in thought, if at all? Yes, it's a crucial little exchange there, and it points up a very important part of this dialogue, and that is Socrates' idea that real truth, real knowledge, only comes through thought, through the intellect, and not through the senses. This is a big part of the whole thing, and it comes down to the theory of the forms, the idea that what he calls true existence is not physical things. Physical things are really more or less an illusion. That the true existences are ideas, pure concepts, and that the only way that we gain access to them is not through the senses, but through the mind, through the intellect, through reason. I think that once you put that in place, a number of other things that Socrates is getting at make sense. For instance, it's the only way to make sense of the idea that the philosophy is a practice for death and that the philosopher welcomes death. Because it's only in death that we can really get truth, that we can really know these pure ideas. And it also later on goes to his major argument, I would say, for the immortality of the soul. So I think that that's just a big part of it, is that Plato's theory of knowledge, or Socrates' ideas about how we actually get knowledge and what knowledge actually is. It's quite important, I think, to note that for Plato or for Socrates, true knowledge is not knowledge of physical things or anything about them. It's a knowledge of what he calls the forms or the ideas.